What's up guys, I'm Mad Morta, and in this video I'm going to be showing off my latest mini project. This is a pair of Animal Crossing themed Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, and as you can see they have a laser etched image at the bottom as well as some custom resin cast buttons. So the purpose of this project for me was actually to try out my new laser engraver. Something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while is to figure out a way to put pictures and images onto plastic, such as game consoles and controllers, etc., without that image coming off or wearing down. For example, stickers tend to not last very long at all, and paint, while it does last longer, still isn't meant to hold up and be in contact with our hands all the time. It's just not made for it. So if you take a look at your most used controller, you can see that the plastic itself is actually wearing down, especially where your hands go. But with this laser etched image, it's not going anywhere. It's basically a permanent mod that's not going to be worn down over time or chip off or flake or peel or anything like that. It's just there and it's solid, and I'm very happy with how that part of it turned out. The buttons I'm a little less thrilled about, but I think that they're okay overall. So the buttons are a combination of two different mods. One of them is a clear resin cast button, which is something I've been making for a while, as well as putting an image underneath that button, essentially. And I did that before on my Wii Remote inside of a NES Zapper gun, where I customized the Wii Remote A button by putting a custom image underneath it to show through. So that's essentially what these are, but a lot smaller, and they're resin cast instead of just being sanded down underneath. So I think that the buttons turned out okay. Ideally, I would like the images to be a little bit crisper and more vibrant, but I think overall, considering that it's a piece of paper put inside some resin, I think that they turned out pretty okay. So let me show you my laser engraver here, and I can talk a little bit about my experience engraving on plastic. Okay, so here is my laser engraver that I picked up off of Amazon for just under 300 bucks, and I'm extremely satisfied with how it works so far. So here it is in terms of size, and here's a Game Boy Color for scale, so you can see it could print on something several times this large with no problem. The reason that I chose this model over any other one is that it doesn't have a platform that you put your object on top of. The laser just hovers over whatever the laser is sitting on top of, which means that you can engrave on anything you want. Let's say that the laser had a platform and you have to put your object on that platform. What that means is you can only engrave on top of objects that are significantly short, like these Joy-Cons. And you wouldn't be able to do something like, for example, a Wii, a GameCube, a Nintendo 64. You couldn't engrave on the side of objects that are wider, so it would really limit you. Whereas with this, you can engrave on anything. If you wanted to, you could tape it to the wall and engrave on your wall. Not that I would recommend it. So it's really versatile in terms of what you can engrave on, which works for me because what I wanted to engrave on is game consoles and controllers, which are often strange and unusual shapes and sizes, especially controllers. They're just kind of odd. So I wanted to have that freedom, and that's why I picked out this model, and it has not disappointed. So here I have two different Joy-Con shells. On the right is an official shell, and on the left-hand side is a third-party shell. The main difference between these is that third-party shells are white plastic on the inside with a coating over that. That may not be true for all of them, but for the ones that I order from China, that is definitely true. They're just white plastic with paint on them. And that actually leads to a really cool effect, in my opinion. This white Samus here is actually laser engraved. So with a first-party shell, the only thing you can really do with the laser is burn the plastic enough that it gives you this dark outline of the image you want. But because this is coated, what you can do is you can actually engrave that yellow coating off the top, but leave the white inside plastic unburnt, meaning that you end up with a white image instead of a black one, which is actually pretty cool. Although you can see from this helmet here, as well as these other marks here, that you can still burn the plastic to a darker color if you wanted, but I personally think that this white helmet here is super cool. So For first party shells, because you have to get that engraving power just right, I did quite a bit of testing here. If you burn it too dark, you're going to end up with kind of like the top of this clock tower here, where it looks a little bit burnt, a little bit darker than I would like it to be. And if you don't give it enough power, you're going to end up with KK Slater here, where he's sort of in the background, not really popping out. So the optimal balance, I guess, that I found was 33% laser power and 6% engraving depth to get something like the Samus or like the images on my Animal Crossing Joy-Cons. And for third-party shells, to get that paint off the top without hurting the plastic underneath, I found that 25% laser power and 5% engraving depth was just the perfect amount to get that effect. So I look forward to doing a lot more consoles that have engraved images on them, since this is my new buddy. It's been running pretty much non-stop since I got it, and I'm extremely excited about it. But these Joy-Cons here were my first test run to see if I could get something that looked professional and official, like an official release of Animal Crossing Joy-Cons might look like this. So that was my goal. I didn't quite reach it, I don't think, with those buttons, but I think overall, as far as the laser engraving goes, which was the point of it, I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. So look forward to some more videos soon with some other similar projects, and thank you guys for watching.